Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 16 of our favorite guitar Riff-Masters of all time. We've picked out our 30 favorites to coincide with 30 days here in April of 2023. Those players that the guitar riff is the single most recognizable part of the song. For the most part, for most people, right? There's something special when a guitar riff sticks in your head. You hum it in your head, you play a little air guitar. Maybe if you're a guitar player, you go and you try and learn it, right? And it's that signature riff. In most cases, starts the song out and maybe repeats itself throughout the song. There are some instances, we've covered a few of them, where there is this great guitar riff that opens up the song and then you never hear it again for the rest of the tune. But you do remember that opening lick, that opening riff, right? So it's got to be something that really grabs you. It's got to be guitar heavy, right? Or not necessarily heavy, but it's the guitar that you're hearing for the most part. So today we've got a guy who has a ton of these things. He has made a career out of creating all sorts of riffs and licks and all sorts of nastiness. That's what this guy has always done. So, for me, three always stood out, but there's a ton of other really good ones. We could do a whole show on Uncle Ted Nugent and all the cool riffs he's had in his catalog. And in some instances, there are songs where the riff is great, the song kind of sucks, right? But yeah, that's the nature of being an effective guitar player, is when you can come up with things with riffs and licks and stuff that will draw people in, even if the song itself is really nothing much to write home about. That riff is really cool, right? So that's Uncle Ted. So for me, the first choice is obviously a no-brainer. It is the kickoff track to his debut solo album, of course, Stranglehold. And Stranglehold is a perfect example of how you can create, and him on his Gibson hollow body electric guitar, right? How you can create a riff that is not necessarily complicated, but it just kind of brings you in, pulls you in, and kind of grabs you by the back of your shirt and just kind of drags you through the whole song. Because Stranglehold, while it's somewhat heavy, it's kind of groovy, and it's just, and it just kind of takes you. It's not big and heavy, it's not fast, but it's so effective. And then you get to that guitar solo right after all those minutes, and the guitar solo is just mind-blowing too. So a very, very cool riff from Ted, but again, it's grimy, it's kind of dirty. That's Nugent, right? That's what he's all about. An excellent riff, like one of the all-time greats. So had to pick that one. Probably, though, his most recognizable one that is kind of a riff of pure genius. Again, not all that complicated, but it's so Ted Nugent, is the title track to his third album, Cat Scratch Fever. Cat Scratch Fever is his Smoke on the Water, is his Iron Man. Right, that's just, you think of all the great, memorable riffs, it's his Sunshine of Your Love, right? It's kind of got this also. I always thought, like, some of the early Ted Nugent stuff, even though he's not from the South, there's this kind of, like, southern bluesy rednecky thing going on in a lot of the music of Ted Nugent. And I always he's from Detroit area, a Motor City guy, but yet he's got this kind of gutsy thing going on in a lot of his early music that's not all that different from what like bands like Skinner and whatnot were doing. And there's this kind of attitude and the way he picks, and Cat Scratch Fever just embodies that. It's kind of molten and metallic, but yet it's also kind of like, I don't know, that gutsy feel that like lots of really good cranking southern rock like Molly Hatchet and Skinner and Blackfoot have, right? It's not all that different to my ears, but it's still fantastic, however you call it. But yeah, Cat Scratch Fever is an absolute gem of a riff. And then, so picking number 3, there's a lot to choose from. You could have picked a couple off the first album. There's the Free For All's got a whole bunch of good ones, right? There's even though I think the songs kind of suck, but Intensities, Intense Cities, which is a live album of all like new original songs, there's molten riffarama going on in that entire album. Even though to me, that's kind of like a jokey album. It's I always had a hard time taking intensities too seriously. But there's lots of great riffs on there. That's really all it's good for is a bunch of riffs. But I'm gonna go with a kind of more obscure Nugent deep track on the Weekend Warriors album, which is a song called Smokescreen, which I think has one of his greatest riffs of all time. It's just this kind of snaking, kind of like ascending, descending thing. It's just totally cool, little pinch harmonic in there, and it's just this steamroller effect of a riff, which I think is really, really cool. And it's a pretty heavy, Smokescreen's a pretty heavy song. I think one of the heavier tracks on the Weekend Warriors album. So that is my third pick. So you got Smokescreen from Weekend Warriors, Cat Scratch Fever from the album of the same name, and of course Stranglehold from the Ted Nugent self-titled debut album. And there, it's just, I always love this live shot of the band on the back of the CD reissue of this album, the Columbia Legacy one. It's just so badass. I mean, the original Nugent band were just so good. For my money, I wish he would have just kept that lineup together for as long as they possibly could. I always thought that Nugent and Derek St. Holmes together were absolute gold. I always prefer. I like a lot of the Nugent stuff where he sings, but I would rather listen to the Ted Nugent band with Derek St. Holmes on vocals and rhythm guitar. To me, that's just those two together. Absolute gold. Could have taken over the world, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, those are my three picks from Ted Nugent. Like I said, he's got a million great riffs, so I'm sure there will be some that might have a couple different ones than me, although I have a feeling for a lot of you, Stranglehold and Cat Scratch Fever will be definitely up there, but curious to see what else you guys come up with if you want to play along with my pick. Otherwise, list your favorite Riff-Master today and the three favorite riffs from that particular player down in the comments below, and we'll see you tomorrow for another one as we move into day 17. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts, and please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, we have down below the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations as well as our merch page. So thanks everybody for everything, and stay tuned in just a little bit for ranking the albums with Enchant, and coming up on Tuesday, we've got In the Prog Seat album study time. We're going to be taking a look and dissecting and discussing Grace Under Pressure by Rush. So that's coming up on Tuesday. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you real soon here for more Guitar Riff Master Mayhem. I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.